Thanks for joining us for City Council Comments. I'm Steve Erickson along with Mayor Jerry Cook. Today we're talking about both the January 7th and the January 21st City Council meetings. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Happy New Year. We've already made it through a couple weeks of 2020.
2020, isn't that something?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've written it every time.
Yeah,
I've done really well.
That's good. You haven't forgotten. And it's warming up too, so we're liking that here. We got the snow, so I'm like, oh, we're all set for Snowflake Days, but hopefully the warm temps don't melt too much of it.
You know, we're really, I think, about halfway through winter. We're a little over half. You get a 36-degree day, man, it really shortens it up for you.
Yeah, and you get a nice stretch of them, as it looks like we are to get, compared to, last January when we had that brutal deep freeze at the end of January.
They said we're 60 degrees warmer right now than we were last January, or something like that.
Hey, nobody's complaining except for maybe some of the winter ski areas.
I know my gas bill's going to be better.
Yes, that should be good. All right, well, we'll jump right into things here. We're going to first start off talking about our January 21st council meeting. One of the first items there we wanted to talk about was swearing in of a new police officer.
Yes. James Melkowski grew up around Milwaukee. He has served as a community service officer here in Coon Rapids. I thought it was since 2018. Okay. And they really appreciate bringing him in from the community service officers because they really get a good chance to look at him.
Yep.
And then in August of 19, he entered into the training program, and he received his badge. I think badge number 165. Wow. And I like how the police chief always says, this is the citizen's badge, for the people you serve in Coon Rapids. But he seemed like a very nice young man, very sharp, a lot of education. And you could tell right away he's going to be a Green Bay Packer fan, but, we'll let that go.
I like how you said, well, neither of our teams are in the Super Bowl. So
right, yeah.
That's a good way to start. But yeah, I think with the CSOs, it's nice to see them come on from the CSO position where they've kind of been with the department, almost like an intern. I mean, they are paid as a CSO, but they get the lay of the land. They know how the department works. They know the people in the department.
Anytime you work with somebody and you have an opportunity to see their temperament, to see how they work in different situations, it's just so much better than an interview and a resume. Yeah. So, I think we've done very well hiring from that level, and I'm sure he'll be a very good officer for the city.
All right. Well, we welcome him. We also had a presentation involving the police department and the fire department. This was for Citizens Awards of Merit. We've had a couple of these presentations now at the council meeting.
These are really awesome when you can recognize citizens for stepping up and doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. And in this case, there was a 64-year-old woman that went off of Highway 10 and literally out through the cattails 100 feet off the road, and they saw her go in, and the father and son, Todd and Gabriel Hilaire, went in through the cattails after her. Mm-hmm. They got to the car. She was still trying to drive out, but she was completely out of it. Yeah. And they got her out of the car, and shortly after they got her out of the car burst into flames, and she said, I just thank God you were there, and I pray for you. And it was just very, very, very nice. She was unable to be there Tuesday night, but she sent a nice note for them. And it's just so, like Todd said, or Mr. Hilaire, he said, I'm sure that I didn't do anything that anybody else wouldn't have done. Mm-hmm. Well, unfortunately, he did. Yeah. Because there's a lot of people that would have just driven by, I've got to get to my whatever. Yeah. And they did the right thing, and it appears they saved her life, and we're very thankful for that.
Yeah, and being in the right place at the right time. Fortunately for her, like you said, you do hear that a lot from those folks that do kind of help and rescue people that say that I wouldn't have done anything different, but you really don't know till you're in that situation how you would react.
Yep. Well, it's so easy because your brain just justifies things. It's like, well, look, there's somebody else. They'll do this. I should really get to my, whatever.
Yeah, and a lot of people have cell phones these days, so you're like, someone else will call it in, or someone else will. You just never know. No. So, and this happened back in September, I believe. It was in this fall, so it's been a couple months since this incident happened.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't know. In my brain, as they were describing it, I had the picture with snow, but there probably wasn't snow yet then.
Yeah, I believe they said September. So it's been a couple months for anybody that did drive by that scene. That's what happened there. So Like I said, great that they were in that place at that time. All right, moving forward, council approved a joint and cooperative agreement for public safety purchasing.
Yeah, so last fall, our fire department discovered that their SCBA tanks were going to expire. They weren't going to be able to keep refilling them. And so we authorized, I think it was like $100,000 for purchasing new ones. And the vendor said, hey, there is a cooperative of 34 communities that buy from us. And if you were to join that cooperative, you could save about $10,000 on these things. It was like, oh, well, that's worth it.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't cost us anything and we can, be in and out. So we authorized joining a cooperative with 34 other communities, and like I say, that'll recognize a savings of $10,000, and it's not only on SCBA. They have other equipment, so hopefully we'll be able to recognize some savings.
Yeah, anytime you can save money, not a bad deal.
Especially when it's the taxpayers' money.
Exactly, exactly. All right, council adopted a resolution, or actually this was an award of a contract for Coon Rapids Boulevard improvements. I feel like we talk about this a lot as well, but we had this came to us before and the bids were rejected, right? And now they came back.
So this went out for bids last year. That's why it's called a rebid.
Okay.
And there was only one contractor that bid on it, and the bid was just so much higher than the engineer's estimate that they said, you know what, let's just set it aside and go back and hopefully find a more favorable bidding time.
Yeah.
And we did. And even with all of the extra work that was added to the project, because the county wants to redo the bridge and make that part of the project, the bid is still less than our original bid. So it's a cooperative project between the city and the county. The county is, I think, contributing a greater percentage because there's some bridge work included. But it's a county road, and it's a joint project. The city's going to lead it. And it's going to be kind of a revitalization. It's going to be a reconstruction of Coon Rapids Boulevard.
Yep.
There'll be some traffic changes with some lanes, eliminating the turn onto Coon Rapids Boulevard extension, adding some other return lanes. Avocet Street's going to become Zilla Street because that really more lines up with the streets. And we were all pleasantly surprised. I think we were all pleasantly surprised to find out they're going to be adding trees to the boulevard.
Okay.
To the median. We've always asked for that, and it's always been a big no, no, no. So for now, to find out that we're actually going to get some trees in the boulevard and make Coon Rapids Boulevard look more like a boulevard, that's great. That's really nice.
Yeah, and that has been the entry to the city there when you're coming from that direction. We're essentially talking about from East River Roundabout, or you're talking the bridge up there, over to Egret Boulevard. They'll also be replacing the traffic signals at both Avocet / Zilla and Egret. And the pedestrian bridge, that's still a question mark, correct? Because I know the county is doing a survey right now, or asking residents to take a survey that they've had out there about would they use it and that sort of thing.
Oh, okay. It's a very expensive pedestrian bridge, and we had gone out. The state said this has more of a regional appeal, so we needed to go and make a presentation to I think the Met Council is where we went then, or maybe it's the other way around. Maybe we went to the Met Council. Oh, we went to the Met Council, and it has a more regional appeal. So now we're at the state.
Okay.
But if the state funds it, then we'll actually get less support. So, well, who knows?
Okay. So at this point, it's not into the project.
Oh no, it is not part of the project.
Okay.
But no part of this construction will eliminate the possibility of having that bridge eventually.
Okay.
We're not doing anything that will prevent this bridge from coming in.
And I do believe there's also some pedestrian improvements to this as well, sidewalks and stuff on the boulevard. So anyways, this will get underway this construction season, and I like how you asked, when will it be completed?
Yeah. This construction season. So it's supposed to be through 2020, this year.
But as we've witnessed with Hanson Boulevard, never quite sure about the construction seasons yet.
Think about how much rain we had this year and how the weather was just not a friend to outdoor construction this year.
Yeah. And it seems like contractors also have a lot of projects to do as well with the favorable environment to that. So.
So we'll see how it goes. I'm just happy that it's going to be done, and it should always be open, but there will certainly be some impedance to traffic while they're doing it.
Yeah. All right. Moving along, council considered a planned unit development amendment. This is for a site plan of a retail building and bank at 3211 Northdale Boulevard. If people are familiar with Riverdale area, we're talking about the Famous Dave's kind of area, correct?
Right. Yeah, we're talking the corner of Northdale and Main Street, right across the street from Costco, and basically in the parking lot of Menards.
Yep.
And the Famous Dave's, which is, I think, a fairly new building, they have figured out a way where it's better configured for them. They're going to tear down that building and add a retail component and then put a bank on the corner. And as far as we know, Famous Dave's is planning on coming back in and occupying a part of that retail building. But it doesn't say anywhere in the paperwork Famous Dave's. It just says restaurant.
Okay.
So we'll see. But as anybody around Coon Rapids knows, that is a terrible place for getting in and out of things. People that go to Menards will typically avoid that front, going out on that frontage road.
Yeah.
They'll go out on Main Street and create, that creates its own issues
Yeah.
up there. Costco has all kinds of issues getting in and out on that Northdale because it's so busy. And then you always have the people that come out, and even though there's 3 signs that say no left turn out of Costco, they make their left turn out of Costco, and you have to wait for them. So at any rate, part of this reconstruction is contingent upon that intersection and quite a bit of that being redone. And that will be a shared expense between the city, Costco, Menards, the McDonald's, the bank. I mean, everybody is kind of cooperating on it. The city will do about a half contribution,
Yep.
but hopefully we're going to clean that up and make it a lot better.
Okay. And they're talking about putting a traffic light in right at that location.
Correct.
Which is awfully close to Main Street still.
It's very close to Main Street, but it will make it a better opportunity for people to make their U-turn. You know, when they come out of Costco and they have to make that right turn,
Yeah.
it'll give them a better place to make a U-turn
Okay.
rather than going up to Main Street to make that.
Which is true. But I'd imagine they'll try to time it with the lights at Main Street so you're not creating big backups
Yeah.
from that back onto Main Street.
Yeah, well, that's actually a good point because I know they're doing a lot of sequencing and timing of stoplights around town. So that would make
You'd
sense.
have to because that road is so busy that I imagine that if that light's red, that traffic could still back up to
Yeah,
Main Street
it would
pretty
stack.
easily in busy times. So.
Yeah, well, you're right.
Okay, so we'll look forward to that. More talks on that, and we'll find out more about that, I think, this year as well. But actually, I was just at the St. Louis Park Costco within the last week, and if you think this location is bad, try going to that Costco sometime because the way it was configured, they don't have the road issue necessarily, but within the parking lot itself,
Oh, okay.
it's a madhouse.
Oh, okay.
And, so at least once you get into our Costco parking lot,
Yeah.
you can get around fairly easy. But
I think it's always interesting because, by the doors, you have that big open area where you have people walking from everywhere.
Yeah.
And it's always seemed like a big elaborate game of Frogger to get
Yeah.
across there.
Yeah.
Whoop, 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 whoop.
yeah, but that's not even as bad as
No.
St. Louis Park is 10 times worse. So
Yep.
we have that going for us at
We
least.
have it going for us. All right.
All right. Council considered the purchase of a TV production truck,
And we authorized it.
and you did.
Yeah. So I appreciate the how long you folks at CTN here can run your equipment. This truck is 20 years old or more than 20 years old. And it's just not worth the amount of repairs that it's going to take it to keep it viable. So we authorized a new truck. I think it was like $193,000. And then this one will go to auction.
Yep.
But both trucks will be here for a time while equipment is transferred from one truck to the other truck. And it's a win-win. And what's really nice is CTN is one of the areas of the town that's it's an enterprise fund. So like $193,000 for a truck doesn't come out of our general fund.
Mm-hmm.
It's not even coming directly out of our PEG, right? Public Education
Government.
Government
Yep.
fees, which is that fee that gets paid on top of the cable bill.
Yep.
Because CTN has been very creative and has found other income streams, revenue streams. We've been doing the Saints games for years. We've been doing the snow cross. I don't even know all of the various things. but there's a lot of revenue that comes into the cable network through that, allowing us as a local, wholly owned cable studio to have just state-of-the-art equipment. You know, I think we've got 2 production trucks.
Yep.
And I mean, it's great. This is a well-run studio, very creative with the financing, and it just serves the city tremendously.
Yeah, and also just a safety net for in the future as people do continue to cut the cord. Obviously, our revenue declines with that.
Right.
So in order to stay viable, we are looking at other kind of methods to try to be able to keep funding and keep doing community programming here in Coon Rapids.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's because then, you know, it's still predominantly it's city. It's city news.
Yeah.
You know, it's the high school events. It's the things, the community events, and it allows us just to have second to none equipment and operations. So, no, it's great.
All right. Well, yeah, when you say over 20 years, I remember them handing the keys to that truck to us over 20 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long already.
Yeah,
all right.
You've been here a while.
Just a few years. Only got a couple of gray hairs from it. All right. That is all we had from our second meeting of January. We'll move back to our first meeting of the month now, which actually happened on January 7th. That is more an organizational meeting, as it is the first meeting of the year, designating several different things.
Yeah. So it's the meeting where you kind of confirm up all your appointments, all your council, so as council members, we have our role on the city council. We also have roles in various organizations. Yeah. And so we designate our council secretary that takes the minutes for the meeting, our official newspaper, and then our board and commission appointments. We reappoint people to the planning commission, arts commission, things like that. And then where I started going with this is then the council appointments. So we've got folks assigned with the Community Education Board, Twin City Gateway Visitors Bureau, the North Metro Mayors Association, Joint Law Enforcement, Fire. You know, there's all these different organizations that the city needs representation on, and most of that is city council members that are all assigned. So we take care of that here. It's just a lot of business stuff.
Yep. Official newspaper, which is still ABC Newspapers, right?
Yep. ECM Publishing or whatever it is.
Yep. All right. So we did that. We also, council adopted a resolution approving a gambling premise permit. This is for the Coon Rapids Youth Hockey Association at Leonard's Bar and Grill.
Right. And everybody's anxious to be able to actually use that.
Yeah, but we don't know when it opens still.
but they were provisionally approved for their liquor license. I believe it was in December, and now they've got their gambling permit premise. Yep. You know, assuming they jumped through the rest of the hoops they had for their liquor license.
Yep. And they've been. I saw on Facebook they posted they were hiring last week, so they were doing some interviews. So. Sounds like they're getting close, but yeah, we still don't know exactly when they'll open. This is the old Willie's location for folks that don't know.
Oh,
or
yeah.
Grumpy's before that, right?
Yeah, well, let's go back.
Arnold's?
It opened as Mr. Steak. Opened as Mr. Steak on Coon Rapids Boulevard and Xavier Street. And then it was Jay Cousineau's. It was Arnold's at some point. Yeah.
There's like 2 locations on the boulevard that are famous for having different businesses inside them.
Right. Except, you're talking about the old Tequila Berries site,
yes.
Of course. And after Tequila Berries went out, there was many iterations that went through there. And then Muddy Cow went in, and Muddy Cow has been so successful there that they then opened other operations based on that operation. Oh, nice. So I feel like, okay, that one's a lock now.
So maybe Leonard's will be the
maybe Leonard's is going to be the ultimate there. Yeah, we'll see. But it's the old Willie's, and it'll just be nice to have something in that building again.
Yeah, exactly. Nice to have it back open. All right, moving forward, council held a public hearing. This was for vacations of right-of-way, utility, and sanitary sewer easements. We're back on the Coon Rapids Boulevard area in Port Riverwalk.
And hopefully this will be the last time we need to do it.
Yeah.
We had many vacations. Okay, so this is the old Coon Rapids Shopping Center, and there was all kinds of streets and utility easements and various things in there. And in order to assemble that into one parcel or 2 parcels, that the new developer, the builder, can buy, we had to clean up all those easements. And every time we would just think we had her done, then Xcel Energy would go, oh, we're not ready to give that one up yet. So, but this should be the last one, and now Centra Homes should be able to go forward with their purchase agreement and start getting basements in the ground this year and getting homes up. And this is going to be a really dynamic change for the Boulevard down there.
Yeah.
Between the 140, I think 143 or whatever it is, new homes that are going to be built along there, with the whole reconstruction of Coon Rapids Boulevard, it's really going to just change that area of Coon Rapids, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I know there's been people looking forward to checking out those new homes once they're built and living in the location. The other location I was just in today, the Lyra apartment building that's up by the North Star station.
Oh yeah.
That's the market rate apartments. They opened the other building last year, which was mixed, affordable, and market rate.
Right.
This is all market rate. Very nice inside. They just started leasing those, or opening leasing on them earlier this month, and March 1st is when folks will be able to move into that building.
Okay.
So
I think that's like 160 units or something. Or
something like that. And they're various from 1 bedroom to 3 bedroom, and rents start around $1,500 a month. And folks can get more information online for that as well. We'll have information on the city's website linking you to their site as well. But really nice. So lots of new. That's the first new market rate building in the city in over a decade at least, right?
Well, since market rate, since the 90s, I think.
Yeah, it's been. I was thinking 20 years at least, but
well, that would be close. Yeah, that'd be the 90s.
Yeah, the lady I was with today said like a decade. I was like thinking, I think it's longer than that.
It's more than that.
So I know folks will be excited about that too, that are looking for new construction apartments.
I think actually it was 93, and I think it was the building up off 121st and Hanson. I think that was the last one, last market rent that went in, but I might be mistaken.
Yeah, it's been a while, like you said.
Yeah.
All right.
Exciting.
Well, more from Port Riverwalk as we move along as well. Council considered the introduction of an ordinance amending the city code regarding drug paraphernalia.
This seems like a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
Yep. So we have like 48, I believe it is, tobacco licenses in town, and a couple of the shops sell other things. A few of them, of course, are all the vaping things and whatever, but a couple of the shops apparently get a little over the edge for what they're selling for products, and they really lean more towards drug paraphernalia than tobacco. So we modeled an ordinance after other communities, ones that have been tested in the courts, and what we had is we had a couple of our shop owners come and present a case and present information that they want more. They want more understanding of it, and they want to make sure that we're not impeding their business. So we're just kind of pumping the brakes a little bit on this to make sure that the council is comfortable with it, that we've gone out and met with these folks and seen what it is that they're talking about, and make sure that this is going to do what we want it to do and not impede other parts of their business that it wasn't intended to impede. My guess is it's probably going to end up in pretty much the same way it's written, but we're going to at least give them the opportunity to talk to them.
Okay, so this will be coming back to council, but no date at this moment.
Right, yeah. It was originally going to be coming back actually at the last council meeting, and at the workshop, the consensus was let's just kind of pump the brakes and give them a little bit more time to work this through.
All right. That is all we had on our meeting there, our first meeting of the year to talk about. Guess we can talk about our upcoming Snowflake Day celebration, which kicks off here this coming weekend.
January 25th.
Yep.
This must be like the 53rd annual or something, because I remember the 50th was at least a few years ago.
Keeps going.
Yep, keeps going.
Time keeps flying.
Yep, so this is the long-term Coon Rapids winter celebration, Snowflake Days, started by the JCs back, more than 50 years ago.
Yep.
And it includes, I think it kicks off, no, it doesn't kick off with the in the middle, that's the waffle breakfast down at the VFW.
And that's on Super Bowl Sunday, the morning of. They'll be having a waffle breakfast.
Yeah, that's right. They call it a community breakfast because there's no charge for it. It's just strictly donations.
Yep.
Part of it is, I believe, the Miss Coon Rapids pageant will be part of this again. And
I'm not actually honest. I haven't really checked out all the events yet. I know the medallion hunt starts things off on the 25th. They will post clues daily there for the medallion hunt. You can buy the Snowflake Days button at various community businesses. They're also available at City Hall.
Yep. So I would encourage you to go to CoonRapidsSnowflakeDays.com, and they've got all of the events from Snowflake Bingo to the Simulator Golf Tournament, Kids Medallion, Miss Coon Rapids, and the Miss Coon Rapids Outstanding Teen pageant. And the Community Waffle Breakfast is February 2nd. And Children's Carnival, winner, let's see, I'm sorry, that would be the winner of the Adult Medallion awarded. Cookies and Canvas on the 9th. That would be Family Day at the Coon Rapids Ice Center on February 9th. Indoor kids fishing contest that day, family skating, lots of things going on. Yeah.
So lots going on. So go to that website, CoonRapidsSnowflakeDays.com,
Yes,
right?
right.
And that'll list everything, the times, the locations, and all that there is to do.
And it'll tell you where you can go buy one of the Snowflake Days pins for $3 and, you know, participate.
We'll be all set. I think that's all I had. There was something else I was going to ask, but I've already forgotten what that is.
Well, I would just remind folks that Hanson is open, and we're thankful that the Hanson Bridge is open. It's not finished. It's a little rough.
Yeah.
So those 30-mile-an-hour speed limit signs mean 30.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's rough.
It's not recommended. It's what you should do. I know what it was. It's the precinct caucuses that are coming up.
Oh, yeah.
Which we'll have more time to talk about it. But for folks that aren't aware that it is a new procedure this year, the first Tuesday in March, folks will actually go to the polls like you do in a primary or a general election, and you'll vote for your presidential candidate of choice.
Right.
So we'll be talking more about that, but just putting that out there. I believe the regular precinct caucuses will be like a week before that.
Right.
The end of February, and that's when you'll talk about issues and stuff. But
Right. That's still the time you talk about things that you want to add to your party's platform.
Yeah.
You know, they meet by party, of course.
Yep.
But at that time that you used to do your vote, your straw votes for your candidates, but now that'll be supplanted with actually going and participating in a primary election.
yeah, so actually absentee voting actually already opened for that last Friday at City Hall, so you can learn more if you want to vote absentee in the presidential primary. It's weird to say that. There's we're not used to doing that here in Minnesota.
Right.
So.
Right.
All right. Well, that is all I have, unless there's anything else you want to add.
I don't think so.
All right. Well, appreciate you being here today and talking to us. Thank you at home for watching, and we'll see you back here again after our 2 meetings in February.